Mr. Risto Ryti served as the fifth president of Finland from December 1940 to August 1944. He was born in the southwestern Finnish town of Huittinen in February 1889 and died in the Finnish capital Helsinki in October 1956. He was educated as a lawyer at the University of Helsinki in 1909 and had a law practice, but then he gradually turned into banking. In 1916 he married Gerda Paula Serlakius, who was born in 1886 and died in 1984. They had 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. He was involved with the Finnish businessman Alfred Kordelin, who in November 1917 was killed by Russian revolutionaries in the southern Finnish interior. During the Finnish Civil War, Ryti played no active part, remaining in hiding with his family in red-dominated Helsinki. In 1919 he was elected to the Finnish Parliament, aged 30, as a candidate of the Liberal National Progressive Party. He served in Parliament until 1924, when he became the governor of the Bank of Finland. He again served in Parliament from 1927 to 1929, and as a member of the Helsinki City Council from 1926 until the late 1920s. He was personally a popular politician, considered a man who was very intelligent and always tried to do what he felt was best for the country, not for his party, which actually shrank to a fringe party, a small fringe party already by the end of the 1920s. In 1925, he was the National Progressive Party's presidential candidate, but lost to the agrarian candidate, Mr. Lauri Christian Relander. In December 1932, the Finnish president, at the time the conservative Per Eivind Svinhufvud, asked him to become prime minister, but he refused to do that. He only assisted his fellow progressive Mr. Toivo Kivimäki in drafting a list of ministers. In 1934 he was awarded the British Knight Commander of the Royal Victorian Order due to his great merits in British-Finnish relations. He had excellent relations with the leaders of the Bank of Finland due to his similar economic policies, such as the belief in the gold standard until the Great Depression, and due to his excellent command of English, which was very rare in Finland at the time. Ryti could regularly telephone the Bank of England's leaders when he wanted to discuss economic or financial policies with them. He was an important background figure in the Finnish politics, especially in the Finnish economic policies of the 1930s. He played an important part in creating the early stages of the social welfare state of the late 1930s. Although he opposed state intervention in business and industry, he nevertheless felt that all ordinary Finns had to receive enough fruits of the new economic boom of the mid and late 1930s, because that would be fair. He opposed socialist economics and especially its Soviet forms. He admired the British civilization and culture and the American free enterprise. When the Winter War started at the end of November 1939, the Finnish government, led by his fellow progressive professor Aimo Kajander, resigned, and the Finnish president at the time, Mr. Kyösti Kallio, appealed to Ryti's sense of duty by claiming that if Ryti refused to serve in a place for which he was fit, he would be morally a deserter, like a soldier who would run away from the front. So he agreed reluctantly to become the prime minister, and then he remained prime minister until he was elected president in December 1940, following Kallio's resignation due to a stroke. And although he had clear Western sympathies towards Britain and the Soviet Union, he, together with most other Finnish prominent politicians, concluded that Germany was the only great power that could at least seriously weaken the Soviet Union, and therefore Finland, in his opinion, had to hold its nose and form an informal military alliance without any official treaty with Germany against the Soviet Union. He resigned as president in August 1944 in order to allow Marshal Mannerheim to become also the Finnish president. In late June 1944, he had written a German language letter to the Nazi German leader Adolf Hitler, promising that as long as he remained president, neither he nor the Finnish government would start separate peace negotiations with the Soviet Union without Hitler's approval. His successor as the Finnish president, Marshal Mannerheim, considered himself not bound by this informal agreement. He was sentenced to 10 years penitentiary as a so-called war culprit, or a person who had allegedly abused his office to lead Finland to the continuation war. The sentence began in February 1946, but because of poor health, such as arthritis and serious stomach illness, he was released already in May 1949. He never returned to active politics because he was simply too sick to work in politics. He was unable to complete his memoirs because of his failing health, and he died at his home in Helsinki in October 1956, aged 67. Ryti was a Freemason from 1924 until his sentence to prison in 1946.